Jackson Radio Show.
Oh my goodness, welcome back everybody. We are going to be talking about the word man. Go look at anything with the three letters M-A-N in it and you are in big trouble. We'll talk about that in a bit. Right now on the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com, we are talking about crazy. And I said earlier, leftists love crazy. They pride themselves in insanity. Understanding that gives you a lot more understanding of their psyche, what drives them. And it's funny, you look at many of these famous people. Do you think I'm kidding? Go look at them and you know what they talk about? They talk about how insane they are. When I tell you they pride themselves on insanity, guys, I'm not kidding. Jimi Hendrix says you have to go on and be crazy. Craziness is like heaven. That's a quote from Jimi Hendrix. That's not Kevin Jackson making it up. And don't think I'm kidding here. Look at it for yourself. Go look at celebrity quotes on crazy and insanity, and I promise you'll hear it over and over and over, especially entertainers. Cliff Burton said, "Just keep going like crazy and look back when it's over." Meaning, go with reckless abandon. Don't worry about the consequences. Look, when it's all said and done, you can then look back at the carnage. Go back and look at what you did to your kids. Go back and look at what you did to people that loved you. Whatever. These people that love crazy, they're the ones who go into rehab because they have been searching for crazy. They search for it in all kinds of ways. What's her name? Chelsea Handler searches for it with promiscuity with men. Many of these celebrities search for it with chemicals. How many of these people end up in rehab? Look at the number of entertainers that are high on coke, opioids, hair, whatever drug of choice, because they're looking for crazy. They're searching for it. Most of us are looking for sanity. We're looking for peace and tranquility. Can I get an amen? I'm just saying. Your world is crazy. If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? And you're in a bit of crazy. And you know what you do? You try to stabilize it. And you stabilize it with marriage or, settling down. They call it settling down. We look to settle down because you want to get a little bit of that crazy out. The minute you become an adult, you get into the rat race. Sad to say, the rats are always winning, right? But you're in the rat race. You're trying to build that career, and it's crazy at the job. I'm not talking about insanity. I'm talking about people just, it's frantic. It's chaotic. And you can't control it. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. So you're chasing that almighty dollar. Then you want to, you go, hey, I got a few bucks. What do I buy? What do I wear? How do I, react? What's the latest, coolest thing to do and to go and see? And then suddenly you find yourself in a relationship or relationships, and you're moving and shaking in that deal, and you're trying to, balance that with your career. And now, your clock starts ticking. What do they call it? Your biological clock starts ticking, mostly for women. But for men too, it's time for me to start looking at it. So, but all this chaos is happening, and you know what you're doing? You're saying my life has gotten a bit crazy. Not drug induced, it's life induced crazy. And that's a crazy you're supposed to deal with. That's the crazy that the yin and the yang of life that says, boy, I've got, I'm thinking about my career. I got my relationships are developing. I've got my friendships. I want to travel. I want to do all these things. Huh? What am I going to do? And you go, okay, let me settle down. I want to get rid of the crazy. And so and by the way, as a conservative, you may have even developed a bad habit or two. You may be drinking too much. You may be partying too much. You may be losing some semblance of responsibility or whatever. Again, but you're looking for organization. Let me tell you something about the left. They don't look for organization. They look for chaos. That's what they look for. They look for the insanity. They can't deal with the picket fence in suburbia, 2 kids, the dog, and going to the PTA. That for them is insanity. While you look now, I'm describing what appears to be a boring life. Conservative life is not boring. You organize, you save, you plan for the future, you plan for your kids' future, you plan for your retirement, and it's chaotic. And at some point, as you reach maturity in life, you start getting to that level of maturity in life, you go, you know what? This is what I've been working for. I've been working to stop working, to settle in, to understand that, you know what? I'm on the downside of that hill of life, and I need to just enjoy the rest of it and start prepping for whatever you think is coming. I believe it's a new world for us. I hopefully go to heaven and experience that. But that's what I hope for. And you hope for something similar. If you're a conservative, which means you're probably Judeo-Christian conservative, and you're listening to me, that's what you're hoping for. Not the left. They don't hope for it. In politics, they want more crazy. The crazier it is, the better they feel. Women marching with vaginas in vagina uniforms and costumes rather, and with vagina hats on, want you to believe that this is a country that oppresses them, but they won't do it in the countries that actually oppress them. And they march against the man who they say is the main oppressor, but again, they won't march against the people who are really the oppressors. They don't do this in any patriarchal country. They didn't even do it against Bill Clinton. Why on God's green earth would you put on a vagina uniform and march against Donald Trump, somebody you hadn't even given 2 seconds of thought about before? Because they're crazy. And the crazier it appears, the more they crave it. They crave it. They think of it as 15 minutes of fame or whatever you want to call it, but they crave it. They crave it as a group. It's funny because Nietzsche said, in individuals, insanity is rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. He couldn't have gotten it more true. I'm not a fan of Nietzsche. He's an atheist. But I'll tell you this. He's so right in this. In individuals, insanity is rare. Take any of these knucklehead leftists we've been talking about. Pull them to the side and say, defend that. Explain this to me. And you can sense the sanity that exists inside of them. But let them get 3 or 4 together. Insanity rules. Groups, parties, nations, and epochs. And what we're witnessing is national insanity. The national insanity of Sweden, who will allow a culture to come into their country and destroy it. Britain, the same thing. France, the same thing. They've seen it. It's not like it's a guess as to what the Muslims want to do. And I'm not just beating up on Muslims. I'm telling you, I'm just giving these as an example. In these countries have witnessed the escalation of terror attacks. Sweden had, I think they said this year has had 200 bombings. There's nothing to that place. Rapes escalating. Things are running rampant. And in Britain, Muslims openly telling Brits, we're taking over. We're taking over. We're not British. We don't want to be British. We're taking over as Muslims. And so what? We might have the accent because we've been around you clowns, but we're taking over. And the Brits, okay, it's okay by me. Whatever. People are crazy. But seeing the individual, insanity is rare. It can be dealt with. When you start getting in groups, it can't. Look at what we teach. Look at where our insanity exists. Go to any university. You guys watch that CNN thing with the NRA where they're booing Dana Lash, who says the NRA, isn't responsible for your gun safety. For anything that's going on with guns. We're an advocate for the Second Amendment. Woo! And Dana Lash, friend of mine, is coolly and as calmly as she can explaining how the system broke down. The system where a kid has called law enforcement on himself. He's killed his father. Did something. Put a gun to the head of his mom. Killed. It's essentially said, I'm a threat. Kids have said they're a threat. He's contacted local law enforcement. The FBI is aware, etc. And they're booing her. It's the NRA's fault. Is that sane? Of course not. Folks, we are not teaching sanity any longer. That's why I told you I'm a superhero. You come here, you listen to me, and you're like, this Kevin, man, he's deep, he's profound. I'm not profound. I hate to break it to you. I'm not profound at all. I may be a little clever at times, but there's no profundery. What's the word I'm looking for? Profoundery? I'm just a regular dude who sees things as they are. I look through the insanity. Because insanity is rare in individuals, not in groups, parties, nations, and epochs. It's the rule.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.